Hey everyone, my name is Cryptic D, Athena, and today we have the last special episode of Devil Fruit Fridays for next week, where the next episode of Devil Fruit Fridays will be pushed back to Sunday, which is when Halloween is. So I hope to see you all there, and I hope you enjoy next week's Devil Fruit as well. But this week's Devil Fruit is probably my favorite Devil Fruit that I came up with for the spooky season. So, let's go ahead and jump right into it. This week, Devil Fruit is the Dracula fruit, maybe like the Drac fruit, or the Vampire fruit, Vamp, the Suck. No, definitely not that. Definitely not that. But, anyways, it is a special paramecia that has aspects of both a zone and a logia, which makes this probably the most powerful fruit out of the 3 devil fruits that I did for the month of October. So, you know, this is going to be a pretty powerful fruit. Anyways, let's jump right into it. This paramecia fruit, I had a couple different things going for it in regards to whether or not it should be a paramecia or a logia or a zone, because you could go either way with it. You could make it a logia in that the user takes in blood and then they can turn into blood. It could be a zone, but you would turn into a vampire bat and not into an actual vampire. But that was already taken by one of the games. I think it was One Piece Red? I think it was... No, it was not that. It was something else. But that devil fruit is very lame and very stupid and boring. So I was just like, you know what? We're gonna make this better. We're gonna make this so much better. We're gonna make it much cooler. So yeah. But I decided to make it a paramecia because it is more flexible. Paramecias are way more flexible than a logia and a zone. And also my ideas for logias and zones, if you've seen my theory about the 4th category of devil fruits, then logias and zone don't quite make sense for this fruit. But anyways, with this fruit you get super strength, super speed. You become immortal, sorta. You of course have the devil fruit weaknesses, but you pretty much become immortal. Aside from the devil fruit weaknesses, you are harmed by sunlight, but it's more like you get like a skin irritation. If you're left outside for a prolonged period of time, you're gonna die from the sunlight. But if you're not left outside in the sun, you'll be just fine. Let's see. Some interesting things about this is that you don't leave a shadow. You don't cast a shadow. You don't show up in a mirror. You don't show up in photographs. It'd be kind of funny if like someone tried to draw you and then the drawing just erased itself. That'd be funny, because I don't think One Piece has. Does One Piece have? No, it does have cameras. Okay, I was about to say, One Piece doesn't have cameras. No, they do. But okay. So that's some interesting stuff about that. An interesting, thing. So, if a character with this fruit were to fight Moria, they'd be just fine because they don't have a shadow. That'd be very funny. That'd be very funny to see. But that's like all the basic strengths and weaknesses. Let's move on to the fun stuff. So, to maintain this fruit and to maintain all your abilities, and more specifically to maintain the immortality factor, you do have to intake blood. Now, that can be straight from a human or an animal, or, well, that's That's what you have to do, right? But you will get a more sustained amount from a human because, you know, obviously vampires are more known for sucking the blood of humans. So that only makes sense that this Paramecia devil fruit would have the most effect from taking in human blood. But if you take in animal blood as well, you'll be just fine. Another thing about this devil fruit is that you, like the werewolf fruit, I don't know if I really I don't remember if I discussed this. If I didn't, I did it for a good reason. But with this devil fruit, some of your classic vampire weaknesses, like a stake through the heart, you know, that's there. If you get your head chopped off, you're done for. Um, what else? I saw somewhere that vampires and werewolves do share uh, weaknesses like silver. So maybe silver would be a weakness, but you know, strictly keeping this to a vampire level, I would make the stake through the heart and getting your head chopped off like the main two ways that you can die with this devil fruit. And speaking of dying with this devil fruit, I think whoever kills you. Okay, this is very interesting. I thought this might be kind of fun. But whenever you die, if you have intaked this devil fruit and you die, your devil fruit is in. It appears right in front of the person who killed you. Like your body, when you die, if you get a stake through the heart or your head chops off, your body disintegrates. And then in the pile of ash, it leaves behind the devil fruit. And you know, it'll have like a stake through it, or maybe it'll be sliced in half if you got your head chopped off. Just an interesting way that this fruit passes on. Unlike any other devil fruit, it doesn't go to a random devil fruit. The devil fruit is always there with the user. It's always inside of them, but no one really knows why, and it's just kind of there. For the most part, I just thought it'd be kind of weird and kind of cool, you know? Just like, why does this devil fruit not work like the other devil fruits? But that's besides the point. I just thought it would be an interesting, neat detail, like the rest of the abilities that I've just talked about up to so far. Alright, some final abilities are that you can turn into a bat, you know, pretty standard stuff. You can turn into a cluster of bats, sort of like how, what is it, Karasu turns into a bunch of crows, but instead you turn into bats. That's mostly for like dodging stuff. You can't move with all of those bats. The only way you can move in bat form is if you just turn into one bat. But if you turn into multiple bats, it's more like you're trying to avoid an attack by turning into a bunch of bats. You don't just turn into a bats and then you swarm people. You just turn into a bat. You just turn into bats to avoid getting hurt. So yeah. All right. And then you can also turn into mist. And that's the Logia part. You know, you have sort of a Logia part with the bats turning into bats to avoid an attack, but this mist is more like, okay, you can move around, you can't harm people in it because you're obviously just mist. It's more like a way to teleport around. So yeah, you can turn into mist, you can turn into a cluster of bats, you can also turn into a bat normally. I also thought about giving you the ability to turn into other animals as a vampire, because some vampires, I think very specifically Dracula, can turn into a couple other animals. I just forgot which animals. But, you know, sticking with the vampire theme, we're just going to stick to the bats and the mist. So, okay, that's the basic abilities, that's all the strengths, that's all the weaknesses. What is this Devil Fruit Awakening? Well, I thought it might be kind of cool if the Devil Fruit Awakening... I'm actually just now coming up with this. On the fly, here we go. Okay. Devil Fruit Awakening, you have the ability to mind control people. or manipulate their blood. Now I know the manipulation of blood, pretty standard idea when it comes to a power set based around blood, but it makes sense specifically for the vampire mythos because, you know, their whole thing is about the blood. But maybe it could be something like this. If you are bitten by the vampire fruit user, and if they have their awakening, you are probably gonna get manipulated in some way, mind controlled in some way. That could be the crutch for this awakening. That could be one idea. Or the other idea is that if you've seen the old Dracula movie, he has the ability to mind control people by, you know, holding up the cape to his eyes, just underneath his eyes, and then he, you know, wiggles his eyes around. And he says some saucy words because, you know, he's a vampire seduction. But for this devil fruit, it's more like you just intensely stare at someone and then they become underneath your control. Now, obviously, if you have a strong willpower, Conqueror's Hockey, you're probably going to be able to bounce out of that. But if you don't have either of those, you're probably donezo. So just keep in mind, you probably need a strong willpower or a strong source of Conqueror's Hockey. And if you have none of them, this fruit is probably going to hard counter you immediately. But yeah, I think that's everything for this devil fruit. You know, if you have any more ideas for this particular devil fruit, I think you could just go ahead, leave them in the comments below. But I think that pretty much wraps up this devil fruit. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. These last 3 weeks have been some of my favorite devil fruits because I absolutely love Halloween, and I love spooky themed devil fruits. I wish Oda had more time to go through some of these devil fruits and make like Western themed devil fruits, you know. But obviously he lives in Japan and he mostly knows Japanese lore and mythology and all that stuff. But if he, you know, we're coming up to Elbath possibly, and which that's going to introduce the Norse mythology. And although vampires and werewolves and what was the other one? Frankenstein aren't strictly a part of the Norse lore. Norse is more associated with like Western ideas in terms of like societal stuff. Western ideas with the Norse lore. So maybe we could get like a vampire and Norse stuff. Maybe. We definitely could get a werewolf in the Norse area because it could be like some guy and his name is Fenrir, you know, in reference to the giant wolf in Ragnarok. So there's that too. As for Frankenstein, you know, I doubt that could happen. Maybe Vegapunk is Frankenstein. Maybe the whole idea with that is that he's just super smart, you know. But anyways, that's besides the point. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's devil fruit. I hope you'll enjoy next week's devil fruit, which is my character's Cryptic D Athena's devil fruit, which I have teased for about a month now, and it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be, my last hint for it is that it is, well, I think I already said this hint, but I'm going to make it very clear that it is based on it's based on an idea that I had in one of my videos, in one of my favorite videos that actually probably got deconfirmed like 2 months ago or about a month ago. I think it got deconfirmed, but you know, if you know what that is, if you know what got deconfirmed, then you know that I have a specific idea for the second option of the deconfirmation. Like, if that idea got deconfirmed, I had another idea to take place of that idea. So yeah, If you know what that is, you'll probably know, you'll have a general idea of what next week's Devil Fruit is. And I'll see you all on Halloween for that idea. And that's when the next Devil Fruit Friday will be. It will be on Halloween. It won't be on Friday. Yeah. I may have another video on Friday, but very likely I won't. So, yeah, that's everything. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at cryptic_HEL, Cryptic Hell, to see all my videos artwork. You can also talk to me. You can also see some hot takes. I don't post a lot on that Twitter. I have another Twitter that I have to maintain, but the YouTube Twitter, I need to get back onto it. I need to really kick it up a notch. But see you all next week, and I may see you on Twitter. But thank you all for watching, and have a good day, everyone.